The old graveyard stood silent under the pallid moonlight. It was a place where the living dared not venture after the sun dipped below the horizon. Tall, gnarled trees cast eerie shadows, like skeletal fingers clawing at the darkness. The tombstones, cracked and weather-red, bore the names of long-forgotten souls, each one with a story of its own. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. Lena, a young woman with an insatiable curiosity, had always been drawn to the mysterious and the macabre. She had heard tales of the graveyard's haunted past, stories of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena. That night, her curiosity got the best of her, and she found herself standing at the wrought iron gates that led into the graveyard. The gate creaked ominously as she pushed it open, sending shivers down her spine. She had brought a flashlight, a camera, and a small backpack filled with supplies. With each step she took, the crunch of leaves and twigs echoed in the stillness. The darkness was all-consuming, save for the beam of her flashlight, which cut through the night like a knife. As Lena wandered deeper into the graveyard, the silence became deafening. The only sound she could hear was the rapid thumping of her own heart. Her breath formed ghostly plumes in the cold air, and she could feel her pulse quicken with each step. She spotted an ancient mausoleum in the distance, a structure that had been rumored to be the epicenter of paranormal activity. Approaching the mausoleum, Lena began to hear faint, otherworldly whispers that seemed to emanate from the shadows themselves. Her flashlight flickered, casting eerie dancing shapes on the mausoleum's moss-covered walls. The whispers grew louder, and she strained to make out the words. "Leave," they hissed, barely audible, as if spoken by the very wind itself. "You should not be here." Lena's heart raced, but her curiosity refused to let her retreat. She pointed her camera at the mausoleum and took a picture. In the blinding flash, a fleeting image appeared on the screen. A faceless, ghostly figure with hollow eyes and a spectral hand reaching out. Before she could process what she had captured, her flashlight died, leaving her in total darkness. Panic surged through her veins as she fumbled for her backpack, searching for spare batteries. Her trembling hands found a spare flashlight, and as she flicked it on, she could hardly believe what she saw. The mausoleum door had swung open, and a chill wind blew from within. The whispers had transformed into a chorus of moans and wails, and a swarm of shadowy figures emerged, moving toward her with ghastly purpose. Lena took a step back, her heart pounding in her chest, but her path was blocked by the gnarled trees, which seemed to have twisted and knotted together, forming a barrier. She was trapped, surrounded by the restless spirits of the graveyard. Lena's mind raced as she tried to come up with a plan. She could feel the cold breath of the ghosts on her neck, and their icy fingers brushed against her skin. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Suddenly, she heard a voice in the distance. It was faint, but it grew louder with each passing moment. It was a man's voice, deep and powerful, and it seemed to be coming from the direction of the mausoleum. As the voice got closer, the ghosts began to retreat, their moans and wails fading away. Lena opened her eyes and saw a figure emerging from the mausoleum, bathed in a warm, golden light. It was a man with a kind face, dressed in an old-fashioned suit. "Lena," he said, his voice soothing and gentle. "You should not have come here. This is not a place for the living." Lena felt her fear melting away as the man approached her. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I am Thomas," he replied. "I am the guardian of this graveyard, tasked with protecting it from those who seek to do harm." Lena looked at him, unsure if she should trust him. "Why did they retreat when you appeared?" she asked. "They fear me," Thomas said with a sad smile. "But you have nothing to fear. I will guide you out of here safely." Lena nodded, grateful for his assistance. As they walked through the graveyard, Thomas told Lena the story of how he came to be the guardian. He had been a wealthy merchant in the small town nearby, but his greed had consumed him. He had made a pact with dark forces in exchange for wealth, but when he died, he was cursed to guard the graveyard for all eternity. Lena listened intently, fascinated by his tale. When they reached the gates, Thomas turned to her and said, "Remember, Lena, this place is not meant for the living. Do not come back here again." Lena nodded, feeling a sense of awe and respect for Thomas. As she walked away from the graveyard, she knew that she had witnessed something extraordinary. She had seen the other side, the realm of the dead, and she knew that she would never forget this experience. From that day forward, Lena was changed. She had a newfound respect for the dead, and she knew that they deserved to be honored and remembered, not feared and forgotten. With a sense of wonder and gratitude, Lena walked into the night, ready to embrace whatever the future held for her.